Hello, and welcome back to Injury Time, your one stop shop for everything on Indian football. Well, the domestic season is slowly but steadily coming to a close in India. But that's more, there's a lot of football awaiting you in the month of April. The women's national team is in action in two friendlies. Mumbai City FC is gearing up for their debut campaign in the ACL. Women's domestic league is about to begin in the month of April. So there's a lot of footballing action to look forward to. Okay, guys. But today it's all about the Champions League because the holy month of Ramadan is on, and in Asian football, that means the Champions League group stages begin. And this time from India, we have Mumbai City FC who will be partaking in this competition. They have been drawn in Group B. There are three other teams. All of this will be discussed today. But before that, let me introduce you to our panelist. First up, joining us from Bangalore from the very first episode, Sandeep. Welcome to a show that you call home.
Yes, this is a show we created, so it's home.
Yeah, it's your home.
But today I'm just going to be the guy who's sitting back, and because our guest is so knowledgeable that I'm just going to keep quiet and ask questions.
Sandeep won't be talking much, is what he says, and that is because we have someone who is very well known in Asian football and beyond that, because he's known to cover football in Asia, in Europe, in Africa, you name it, and you can find him there. You're talking about Uri Levy, who joins us from BabaGol. Uri, welcome to Injury Time.
Hey guys, time runs so fast. I remember we recorded last season podcast when Goa
Absolutely,
just
and like you say, let's keep football real.
always I can prefer.
Oh yeah, there you go. Keep football real. That's what Uri does. That's what BabaGol does. But before that,
Yeah.
Uri, just tell us, where are you joining us from today? Because I know you've been traveling all around. Where are you today?
Yeah. Last year I joined you from Jerusalem. Tonight I'm joining you from Jaffa. Jaffa is a small mixed city, southern side of Tel Aviv, right by the beach. Now it's Ramadan here, so a lot of festivity atmosphere, and people are very calm, very happy. Good atmosphere in Jaffa. Muslim and Jews living together. Good place to be, especially in the summer. And yeah, looking forward, preparing myself for a great season of AFC Champions League. We will broadcast it here in Israel for the second season in a row. The numbers were great last season, and the channel that I commentate games at decided to go for it again. Both AFC Champions League, AFC Cup. I already got messages from people in India and Saudi Arabia who sat on the pirate streaming of this channel and asked me, "Are you returning for a second season?" Yes, we will return. And this is basically the privilege, of being BabaGol and doing BabaGolic things. Is basically open people's mind for new football scenarios and connecting people through football. And I'm very happy Sport One Charter decided to go on another season of Asian football. It will be a privilege to commentate it for sure.
Well, and
We'll have
that's one
to,
of the ways that we met you.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
and we will
Well,
have Champions League too. Finally,
What?
like a proper AFC. India also will be from because they got the rights finally. So we'll get
Ah,
to Aussie games as
finally,
well. Yeah,
finally.
yeah.
Yeah, I remember there were plenty of problems with that last season, and yeah, I remember all the fans sending messages. They were very frustrated. I got to commentate Goa's match. Actually, it was such an impressive match against the Al Rayyan, the
ah,
0-0. You remember that match? It
Yeah,
was a
yeah.
very good match, and I thought back then that the first taste of ISL with the AFC Champions League might teach us also about the abilities and the capabilities we didn't know existed in Indian football. So let's hope Mumbai City won't disappoint us this year, but we will speak about it, I believe, soon.
absolutely, guys. Like I told the listeners, like I told the viewers, it's all about the Champions League. It's all about that Group B in which we have an Indian team this time around. Mumbai City
Yeah.
FC, a team that did double last season, won the ISL, won the league shield, and then went on to win the ISL as well. But they are not the only team. There are three other teams. There are the big dogs, Al Jazeera from UAE, Al-Shabab, a team from Riyadh, and then a team which Indians might remember for a team that beat Bengaluru FC in that final of the AFC Cup. Al Khwaiwa, Al Jaiwa, if I'm getting it right, that's how they pronounce it in Arabic.
القوة الجوية.
Oh,
There you go. That's the right pronunciation. I always get it wrong. Let's stick to Air
Yeah,
Force
yeah,
Club if that's the case.
yeah. The
Right.
AFC picked the Air Force Club nickname for a reason. It's easier for each one in every side of the continent to pronounce it correctly. So Air Force, we can use Air Force too. Yeah, sure.
Let's do Air Force Club. But we begin with Jazeera, Uri,
Yeah,
team from
yeah.
UAE, team that won the Arabian Pro League last time around, placed third so far in the league. How do you look at this team?
Yeah. Okay, I would say this one. Al Jazeera Abu Dhabi is a big name in West Asian football. They have a fantastic system, fantastic professional system there with Dutch coach Marcel Kaiser and the technical director Mads Davidson from Denmark. Mads, I know him pretty well. Worked for Brøndby, worked in China, and he took the challenge in Abu Dhabi just before last season, and he did marvelous job. He really a big believer in young talents that coming up the ranks, coming up of the system of the club. And when we are speaking about Al Jazeera Abu Dhabi, we are speaking exactly about this kind of club. Um, if anyone from our viewers or yourselves thinking about I heard the name Al Jazeera Abu Dhabi not too long ago in the Club World Cup. They participated as a host as the champions of the host nation, and basically they got battered by Al Hilal Riyadh 6-1 in a very unfortunate circumstances there in front of the home crowd. But it doesn't say that the Al Jazeera are a very weak team or a team that is not competitive. Not at all. They had, I would say, a pretty long transition period after winning the title. And they started this season at the Emirati ADNOC League a little bit shaky. But if we look currently, they are running on 7 games in a row without losing. Even 8 games in a row without losing, regaining shape. And I think that for them, this group stage, this AFC Champions League group stage they're starting now, is a very good chance for a first start to show that they regrouped, rebuild themselves. And when you look on the names or in the squad, so we are talking about, of course, Ali Mabhout, the biggest scorer in the history of Emirati
Guy who scores
League.
goal for funds.
Yeah, exactly. He's up there, scoring nearly 200 goals for the club, all competitions in a little bit more than a decade. And Al Jazeera is basically the bigger team in Abu Dhabi, but they have a pretty good rivals. Al Ain, that is from a nearby emirate, but this is the big derby of Abu Dhabi. Al Ain is having a great season. Al Ain, is a prestigious club. Al Jazeera want to be this
Then there's Al
prestigious club.
Wada just down the street.
Yes, of course, and Al Wada Stadium, probably the nicest stadium in Abu Dhabi. And I try to think on the right way to make the parallel. Like if you should put the equivalent derby in India to Al Jazeera and Al Ain, um, or Al Jazeera and Al Wada, something between the Kolkata clubs, I would say. If we need to put it, it's the big game, of course, and it's still bigger than Dubai's derby. Between Al Wasl and Al Nasser. I still recall Al Jazeera and Al Wahda and Al Jazeera and Al Ain bigger matches. But except of Mabhout, we have few more names. Abdullah Diaby that already scored 8 goals this season, in really good shape in the current run. Abdallah Ramadan, for me, one of the biggest talents in Emirati football at the moment. A versatile player, very well fit. What, we lost Sandeep?
He's just come in. There's some network issues on his end, so he's joining us from his phone, I am assuming.
Sandeep, welcome back.
yeah. Sorry. I think something happened.
No, that's okay. We're just discussing Abdallah Ramadan,
Yeah.
a very athletic player, can play in different roles in attack, from midfielder to the wing, even as a forward. I really like this guy. I think he has great attitude, and I know from the system there, all the staff there really likes him too. And see him guiding and leading Emirati football in the future. In manners of another interesting name that I thought we should mention is Milos Kosanovich, the center back, a free kick specialist. Naveen, remember this. If in the match between Mumbai and Al Jazeera get a free kick, if this guy is taking it, beware. He
right.
literally scores more from set pieces
Well,
than
guys,
any
you heard
other
it here
player.
first. Guy, the person to look out for when Jazeera plays Mumbai.
Yeah. So
Well,
and like we can go to more players
then
if
there's
you like.
Khaflan
Yes.
Mubarak, who's been a regular with the UAE national team.
Yes. Khalfan Mubarak, for many, I would say, for a couple of years, we've seen him as, as the successor of Amouri, Omar Abdul Rahman,
Yep.
the great football magician from the Emirates in the last decade, basically, before the injuries basically killed his career. Khalfan also had a bad injury that prevented him from really taking over, I would say, Emirati football after the championship winning season of Al Jazeera. He's now returning up the ranks. And let's see how he returns also to lead this team, because obviously he's the most talented, I would say, midfield player this team has. And if he is fit, so he's a very important first team member in Al Jazeera for sure.
Oh, right. But this about the players, Uri. Could you tell us a bit about the style that Jazeera plays? What can we expect? Because last time round, when FC Goa played the Champions League, the first team from the country to play in the AFC Champions League proper, there was a lot expected from teams like WADA, and of course there was Persepolis. Persepolis did what Persepolis does, but there was quite a bit expected from WADA. But Goa were there. They presented themselves as a very strong challenge. Was it because Goa was that good, or was it because we were just overall we actually didn't know what to expect from a team like WADA and Jazeera, more or less similar?
Um, yeah, I think every time a club is making a first or a debut season in a competition, so it works both ways. You think that the veteran competitors don't know what to expect, from a newcomer, and the newcomers basically enjoying, the fresh start, and when there is an expression where people play poker, so the beginner's luck, and the keep the freshness of beginner's luck. So it's the same in this kind of competition, because you're learning on the go so much. It's a new pace. It's a new challenges for players who basically competed only domestically before that. So I do believe that Mumbai City, which I will be happy to hear from you guys better. You will educate me on this club. Um, what are the qualities that they are bringing to the table, and how they can surprise a team like Al Jazeera, which is playing a very organized football, usually 4-1-2-1-2, in kind of a diamond that can shift also to 4-5-1 if they are playing against a better side, or a side that is putting a high end pressure on them. But they have very good defensive midfielders. Their center backs, Kosanovic, is very intelligent player, so they can adapt really well. And yeah, against Al Hilal, well, it didn't work out. But if we compare the squads, it's basically Al Hilal, and the Saudi clubs are something else. How can you face Musa Marega, Odion Igalo, and Mateus Pereira? It's a different level. So basically, I see Al Jazeera a very, very strong contender, to finish in one of the two first spots in the group for sure. But I think that what we can expect from them against Mumbai is basically the regular diamond, or otherwise, a more wide 4-4-2 with two high wings that will help the strikers to find the chances fast. because both Max Davidson and Marcel Kaiser like to press high. They like to press high, so Mumbai needs to be ready for that.
So Mumbai actually played against Al Ain in a friendly the other day, and they won 2-1. I think Al Ain is leading the league there. So what kind of do you think they took it lightly in that friendly, or do you think Mumbai, will gain some confidence from that win moving into this match?
I haven't watched the match, so I don't know what went down there. Obviously, Elen is leading the league, but friendly is a friendly, and usually the goals of coaches and teams in friendlies are not necessarily the victory. You want to test the right back or the left back, how many runs he can make and how fast he can return to defense after giving the cross, and if he gave the cross right. And so you count more on the attributes and less on the 2-1 or 3-1 or whatever. Um, but again, I think if you reckon that Mumbai is a better side than what Goa was last year, so maybe they do have a chance, because we see that the differences in the group stage, in the group stage of the AFC Champions League, anything can happen. Okay, eventually the quality of the squad will react to the surface. Okay, for example, the best example, Istiklal Dushanbe from Tajikistan won against Al Hilal in the group stage. Yeah, it was 4-1. One of probably the biggest achievement of Tajik football ever. Yeah, and not just the simple Al Hilal of Bafetimi Gomis, all the big names. Yeah, Andre Carrillo, all this. Okay, but eventually Al Hilal went on and won the
To win the
title.
title.
Yeah, exactly. So, and the only team to beat Al Hilal in this whole season is Istiklal Dushanbe. So I think that if Mumbai will come with a certain plan and will play fast and will use their stamina and their physical fitness, and if it is in good shape, yeah, they can pull off a surprise. And I think Al Jazeera and also Al-Shabab and Rico Al Jawiya will now explain them. Even the chances are maybe even better.
Well, a lot of hope that Mumbai comes in with into the AFC Champions League, their debut campaign, especially after what Goa did last time round. There is reason to hope. But Sandeep, how much of this hope is backed by substance when it comes to Mumbai? Because in the league, at least in the ISL, they had they were off to a flying start, but as the league progressed, they tailed off and eventually did not finish where they had eventually envisaged to finish.
Yeah, I think we did a review at the end of the league. At the start of the thing, we were expecting them to kick on, but in retrospect, it looks like I don't think this team is as strong as the team they were last year. The goalkeeper was the number 2 in the national team, who was basically the number 1. It's just a very small. I guess it's a matter of preference in terms of
Yep.
who's the number 1. But he's just as good. So they lost that goalkeeper. They brought Mohammad Nawaz in. And going into the Champions League season, I don't know how smart that move was. Plus, they have only one foreign centre back, Murtada Fall, who's very dangerous at the other end of the box. In the opposition box with headers and goals. But I think you can target him a little bit, especially when the ball is at his feet. So there is that little concern. Plus, the left back and the right back situation, again, we saw it in the league. They were exploited quite often on those two sides, and especially with players like Mandar is not really a left back. He's okay as a left back at the ISL level. We have to see whether he's as good, going into the Mumbai City team and going into the Champions League level. So that's something that is a little worrying. Raulin being fit or not in midfield is going to be extremely important because he's probably the most complete midfielder that they have. Rainier being a wide player playing inside is not the same. Apuya, I mean, Uri, you keep an eye out for this boy. He's one of the best midfielders that we have coming up. Really, really talented.
I'm writing it down.
Yeah, so he's the one. Jahu's obviously foreign player, great player, one of the best passers of the ball. They have great strikers going forward. With sorry, Igor Angulo and obviously Diego Mauricio. But Mauricio is one of those players who, actually, both the strikers don't really offer the team anything other than goal scoring. And Angulo goal scoring is a killer. He's a great finisher. And if you remember last season, Juan Fernando chose not to go with Angolo. He chose to go with
Right.
Jorge Ortiz and Noguera. So he wanted to
They had
work as a
Pandit up
team.
there.
Sorry?
They had Pandit up there.
Yeah. So he wanted to make sure that the team worked together, and Mumbai seems maybe looking at it slightly differently. But that said, I think Des Buckingham, who's a coach now, he's a City Football Group guy, formerly with Wellington and stuff. He's a good coach. He's probably a better coach tactically than what Sergio Lobera was. Sergio Lobera was sort of a I play this way, it's my way or the highway kind of a thing. So you had great wins, but you also had really bad losses under Sergio Lobera. Some teams used to just take them apart, especially those who play on the counter attack. So going into this, I'm slightly concerned. I think they don't have the same discipline that Goa had, unless in the last 2 weeks or some they really put in a shift. There is a mentality change. There's a proper plan, which is somewhat different because they do try to pass out of the back a lot in the ISL. Again, it's possible in the ISL because they have the pace is not the same, but I'm not sure how much of it will be possible in the Champions League level. Again, FC Goa did a good job last year. They upped the tempo. Can this team up the tempo is a question that's in my head. So I'm not as optimistic as I was last year, because
Right.
last year we looked at the Indian players and thought, they had Brandon who could do something, with the cross and and
Well, he did.
so
He did give
he
that first assist.
he did get
Assist
the
for the
assist
first
also.
goal.
So Mumbai does not have a standout Indian player, and the one that I can think of is Rowland. Apuya, I think, is good, but maybe the Champions League is too early for him. Let's hope I'm wrong, that he proves me
Yeah.
wrong and takes it off.
For the sake
But
of everyone in Indian football,
for
let's
Sega,
hope you're
everyone
right.
in India, yeah. We had 3 points last year. If we get three, I think I'll be very happy this year.
Yeah, we
That
need the
should that
first
be the
victory for an Indian team.
Okay. Yeah, we do.
well, Sandeep, should that be the realistic target for Mumbai going in, like 3 points and look from there on?
I mean, I think the fundamental idea, and I think Yuri will agree with me, is to go there and compete. Not really. I mean, you can. That's all you can do. Sometimes it's beyond you, the quality and the players and the managers, and just the speed and the thought that you need to put in every second, right? So for them, it is important that they compete, and if there is a progression from game one to the last game, and they consistently do better every single game, I think we can take it as a good thing. Whether the points come or the other, it doesn't. I don't know. I'm not sure how good the other two teams are. I saw Air Force Club play in Doha a few years ago, and they were physically a very tough side. So I think they could have only gotten better because now they are in the Champions League. They won the AFC Cup 3 times. So yeah, it's going to be
Yeah,
really really difficult.
you won the league last year.
Yeah,
Well, we don't know
with
how
Yeah,
the
West
other
Asian
two teams
teams.
are, because that's the very reason we are here today with Uri for company, to know what the other teams have to offer. But before we get to that, Uri, I wanted to
Yeah.
ask you this. Last time round when FC Goa came into the Champions League group stage, Champions League proper, and put up the kind of performance that they did, how was their performance received by the Asian footballing community as a whole?
yeah. I think that nobody expected from Goa to do something special, especially in a group, that wasn't a simple group. El Rayan, El Wahda, everything we spoke about. It wasn't an easy task for a team that is being the first representative of Indian football in this level. Not an easy task at all. And also we remember the conditions. No fans in this bubble. The bubble reality of the AFC Champions League last season was horrific. It killed all the vibe. So you didn't even got the excitement and support that as you expected for a first time. This is first. But I think the reaction in the Asian football community was pretty good. People said, okay, these guys can play. They didn't. There was no single game that they lost it completely and looked not related to the level. They have something to offer. We're still waiting for a first victory for a marquee game. But I think the 0-0 against El Rayan that I had the privilege to commentate was pretty impressive, because you see there was a game plan, there was goals in each possession, and they made it. They just want to stop an El Rayan team with Yassin Brahimi, Yannick Boli, big names, and so it's not It's not an easy challenge because Indian footballers are not facing these challenges in their own league week in, week out. I thought the Asian, among Asian football experts and community in general, people said, okay, that's a good start. That's a start. It's not nobody thought, okay, they are amazing. Yeah, nobody got carried away, but they took it as a solid performance for his first season, indeed. Not from
Well,
an
guys,
easy group again.
get it, guys. Like last year, this time around again, the match will be played not in a bio bubble, but at a centralized venue because of the travel
Yeah.
restrictions which are in place in some
But it
regions
will
still.
be better. It will be better, Naveen, because the idea, and I think it was a good change from last year, because putting bubbles separate from each other, uh, there is no, and it was really killing the vibe. Yeah, and I
Right.
know it's sad for certain fans not to follow the team to the certain country. It will be the first time in history that the AFC Champions League is basically taking place in one country, 4 different cities.
Yeah.
It's going to be very interesting. But the benefit, the upside of it, it's taking place in Saudi, so the facilities will be fantastic. Fans can be allowed in. Um, yeah, it's not optimal because the stadiums are huge there, so we might suffer from a little bit of an echo, but the facilities are so good, and for teams like Mumbai, it's a very good chance because players, footballers, they shine when they see they are playing on a quality pitch. They know that
Absolutely.
it's helping them to bring up their game. And I spoke with footballers from South America to Asia. It's all the same. When you go to a big stadium, even if there is not a full house, you want to produce more from yourself, and it does happen. So I think it's good it's taking place in Saudi Arabia, and yeah, let's hope for for a better atmosphere in manners of fans, and also when the tournament will get further, so we will enjoy it, and for sure this group and Mumbai, it will be another very good experience from them. They're gonna play against a local team. Al-Shabab
Right.
is based in Riyadh, and Al-Shabab is basically is the little sister, because they have Al Hilal and Al Nasser, the massive clubs with millions and millions of fans. But Al Shabab is not a small club, not at all. They have their own fan base, they have their own character in the city, and they have fantastic players as well. And the fans would come to support after many years away from the Champions League football and the Champions League group stage. And in general, a club that is now returning to its good days. They almost won the championship last year, but lost it in the end. But they have a quality side, very quality side, and exciting project. One of the teams that I most enjoyed watching in Asia last year, Al-Shabab.
But since we are talking about Shabab, let's just talk a bit more about them. What can we expect from them? The kind
Yeah,
of
but
play.
eventually we didn't talk about the weird connection between Al
Oh
Jazeera and
yeah,
Mumbai
right. We did
City.
not. We did not. So that's something that
Yeah,
we need to address here, right, guys?
yeah, yeah, yeah.
Because like we were talking before we went live, there's Jazeera, there is Mumbai City. Mumbai City is part of the City Group. In Jazeera, Sheikh Mansour has a part ownership, and City knows who owns City Group. Isn't that conflict of interest?
Yeah, so it's a very good question, first of all, and it's a very important topic because it's bigger even from just speaking about AFC Champions League, Indian football. It's basically the world we are living in, because City Football Group is one of the most emerging power in every football market out there. It's not only India, it's the
Right.
US, it's Uruguay, Australia. Des Buckingham came from Melbourne City. It's in the same group. So basically, yeah, Sheikh Mansour and City Group are building a football network that helps them to gather a lot of data and scout a lot of talent and literally control a huge part of the football world through football systems. Um, whether it's legal, whether it's a conflict of interest. Look, if you remember, in the beginning of the 2000s, there was after Roman Abramovich bought Chelsea, he had also this issue with CSKA Moscow when his company was sponsoring or half owning CSKA Moscow, and they both played in the Champions League. So I believe this time with Mumbai City, it's the first time the AFC are facing such situation even. So I would say this, it's a little bit different because it's not concentrated basically in the hands of Sheikh Mansour himself only. It's a network of clubs, and each club has his own main man, and then the football system and the financial system. Yeah, they are all connected, but every agreement is very different. You know, Turquay, Montevideo, and Uruguay is not the same agreement that Mumbai City has, and I believe that Melbourne City is not the same exactly financial or administrative agreement that the same as Mumbai City. So I believe it will be tested somewhere in the near future. It will be tested whether it is a conflict of interest, because it's a very, very, very good point. But it's only the first time that is happening. So we will see about that, and who knows? I guarantee you this. This point will be pushed against the wall and will be discussed much earlier if Mumbai City will do good in this AFC Champions League campaign. If they will be fighting for qualification, suddenly you'll see someone asking about it. You know, hey, it's not the same, this and this. Okay, so we will see.
Until then, there won't be much chatter about it, right? Only if Mumbai ends up performing beyond the expectations, beyond their realistic expectations, when we'll actually have people come out and talk about, okay, there's something happening here. There's something really wrong here. Tell us what.
But can I ask you this? Like, is it really wrong that there is a conflict of interest? I'm not saying there isn't, but a City Football Group, they want to invest in football all across the world so that they can, like you said, scout better, get the best players, maybe move them from a lower league to a slightly bigger league, and move it up all the way up. Probably Manchester City will be their crown jewel, right? In terms of the biggest club that City Football Group is owning, reputation wise and fan base wise.
Yeah.
So what do you think of a model like this? Because earlier you had affiliate clubs, maybe you have some agreements. You sent Chelsea had with Vitesse, right? They would send players to loan over there. So those are the previous generation of affiliations. But what do you think of this move as a business?
Yeah, look, first of all, obviously, as someone who, I'm fully for, support your local club, and I'm all for, local identities for football, and, for keeping football real. I'm also a person who lives in this world, and we are living in a world that every day we wake up in the morning and something that was there yesterday is not existing anymore. And everything is becoming more expensive, and football is becoming more expensive. It's an expensive business. So in a way, I would say, yeah, I like the old world, but this world is moving forward. And if you want to build football clubs that maybe will gather communities around them and will give a stage to these identities, or give stage to these people, and gather the people around the football club, if this is the business model or the best business model to do it, okay, so let it be. Is it problematic? Very much problematic. But it's also a reality that forces itself. It's like this reality that basically after, let's say, after Qatar 2022, we won't see many countries host World Cups or Euros or big tournaments like this alone, because it's very expensive to host such tournament. So I think the answer is somewhere in the middle. Obviously, I don't like it because it gives mega advantage to other clubs over the local side, that the independent clubs, they are standing by their own. But if you want to compete in the highest level, so this is what it takes. But
so the era of super clubs is here.
What I didn't get the question.
Do you think the era of super clubs is here?
I think it's already here for sure for a long time now, no?
Yeah.
In
So
Asia
there have been
especially.
conversations happening even at the Asian stage now.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, but it's in Asia especially. I want to relate only to one comment here from our great audience, Ahmad Hashim, the biggest
Mm.
expert for Qatari football, was with us last year.
Yeah.
Yeah, so he said, Uri, Qatar hosted both East and West in 2020. Yes, I remember. I'm not talking about the knockout. I'm talking about the group stage that go participate. But Ahmad, I want to tell you one thing. I hope all the time I was my biggest fear this year that Al Sadd won't participate in the AFC Champions League, but now I'm calm and I'm waiting for Ahmad's content about Qatari football. There is another question.
Yeah. I think Naveen is on mute.
Navina, you are on mute, my brother.
Oh, I'm really sorry, I was on mute. I was just saying
Yeah,
that there's a lot of love and prosperity going Ahmed's way this Ramadan season. And Uri, there's one question coming your way this year. Did Alin
yeah.
play their first team in the practice? I think Uri, you answered this. None of us are much aware.
I haven't watched the match. I'm sorry. But if you want to send me the link or even a highlight, I will watch it and I will tell you if it was the first team, so you can get the grip of the real level for sure.
All right. Well,
I
that
mean,
about
Uri,
Indian.
you obviously don't know Indian football. We don't show our matches as much as possible.
What we get is for premium.
Yeah.
Just the best.
We listen to India playing. We watch the match with the Arabic commentary and all. And we have some person on Twitter translating what he said in Arabic to us, saying that I
Amazing.
think last year they played UAE, right?
Same 20.
The six goals I
The
think they
6-0
conceded.
match.
And at the end, the commentator was just saying, "Why are we even playing against these teams? It makes no sense to us. This is worse than a youth team match or something." You're saying, and this guy is tweeting saying this is what is being told because we don't know. We're just watching on
Things we have
YouTube.
to do to watch football in this
Yeah.
country.
Yeah.
All right, guys, let's
Amazing.
come back to Group B of the
Yep.
AFC Champions League 2022. Al-Shabab, Uri, you said local team that plays in Riyadh, but not Al Nassr or Al Hilal. But yes, one of the big teams, a team that finished second and were almost close to winning the league last time, right?
Yeah. Al-Shabab, I call them the little sister because they are playing in a city with really two of the greatest institutions of football in West Asia, Al Hilal and Al Nasser, massive clubs. But Al-Shabab suddenly starting to wake up. It's this season will be the first time in the ACL group stage since 2015. They reached the semi-final of the competition in 2010. They have a very interesting coach, a new coach, Somodica. Okay, he's from Romania. He's a crazy coach who had great spells in Turkey. Trabzonspor is very popular in Turkey, and he's coming. Basically, he's joining El Shabab also after the success of a few Romanians coaches in Saudi Arabia. Razvan Lucescu guided Al Hilal to their 2019 AFC Champions League title. Cosmin Contra is now coaching very successfully Ittihad Jeddah. They are running for the title in Saudi Arabia after many years of being in the lower parts of the table and even fighting against relegation. So it's basically also a fresh beginning for El Shabab, and they have fantastic players. They sold their main goal scorer, Odion Igalo, Nigeria striker, that was also the top scorer in AFCON 2019, played for Manchester United. But they brought some good replacements, and they had very good players indeed already in the squad. I'm talking about beyond everyone, Ever Banega, ex Sevilla, ex Inter Milan, one of the most intelligent players worldwide, not just Asian football. I'm talking about world football. This guy is passing 16 assists last season, amazing number. This guy assists where there are those players who score when they want, so this guy assists when they want. I was very surprised to see him joining El Shabab. A player of his caliber, probably if he goes to Saudi, it should be Al Hilal or Al Nasser. But Ever Banega basically gave Al-Shabab their new life as a big team. He's making them big, and also names like Carlos Jr. and Alfred Ndiaye, good players who score and contribute in attack, and also a new loanee from Al Hilal, Luciano Vieto, also from Argentina originally. He joined Al Hilal. Vieto, people hoped for him, for the biggest stages in football when he went from Argentina to Atletico Madrid. He didn't develop to be a marquee player in Europe, and he's still looking for his form in Asia. I would say he still hadn't put his mark in this continent, and I believe it's a very good chance for him to show what he's capable of doing. Few players that for me I want our viewers to put an eye on, because it's also a chance to be educated about the new players and new scenes, and basically players from Asia. So one that I like in a special way, Hatan Babri. Hatan Babri from Saudi Arabia national team. He also played for Al Hilal. He's a very nice and I would say delicate winger, very intelligent player. He can cross. He has a good kick. He has good technique. He has good vision for the ball. A very quality and diverse attacking player. It didn't work out for him at Al Hilal too much. So now at Al-Shabab he's also looking to regain his reputation, to regain his spot in Saudi football as one of the leading Saudi players. Also put an eye on him. And in defense, Al-Shabab has two really good wing backs. On the right side, you have Fawaz Al-Sagur, and on the left, you have Mat'ab Al-Harbi. Two of them are helping attack all the time, very intelligent players. Yeah, they are not top level, but they are quality players. They players that work in a collective, and it's very important in tournaments as such. So Al-Shabab definitely has a lot to show. And also in the squad, you can find Nawaf El Abed, also a big name from Saudi Arabia from the past years. He's already a veteran. He's not completing 90 minutes every game, not starting every game, but when he's fit and he can contribute, he's also he can help in set pieces. He can find the players in attack. I think the thing that the weakest point of Al-Shabab now is basically the goals, because they lost Odion Igalo, and this guy is a goal machine. So it's not like their strikers are not good. They can score, or everything is okay, but it's not the same. I'm saying that if they had Igalo for this group, I would tell you for sure Al-Shabab is finishing first. Without, it will be more challenging, I would say.
All right. Well, I think Roshan, Uri just answered your question. Right there. Could Al-Shabab replace Igalo? Only time will tell. We'll have to wait and watch.
Exactly. Good
Well,
question,
Uri,
Roshan, big up.
yeah,
Yes.
we've been talking about a lot of foreigners coming in and going out, but AFC going down the road has proposed and approved changing of that 4+1 rule. Your thoughts on that? That's something that our listeners wanted to know. I'm just popping a question here. What do you think about the change in the foreigners rule in the AFC Champions League? Does it favor
Ah,
stronger nations a bit too much, and will it set back development of local players?
yeah. This story I'm following closely all the time when the organizing committee, the administrative committee of the AFC releases a statement about this topic is very important, because I think that the AFC is basically the stage for many countries that are developing their football culture, developing their football heritage. And I think this rule is maybe the last ceiling before it will get crushed by all the money in Saudi at the moment, but it could be the money in China. It could be, I don't know, one day maybe the money in India. It's changing, but it's not in favor of the small and the upcoming teams. So basically, what the recommendations are, and the change that everyone are talking about, is basically letting from next season, not this season. This season we are still on the regular quota of 3 foreigners plus one of an Asian confederation that is a member of the AFC. So it means 3 foreigners can be from South America, Africa, Europe, and another one from a different country in Asia. Although you can list in the general squad how many foreigners that you want, but on a game day you can have only 3 plus 1. From next season, they are talking about 5 plus 1. And even there was a recommendation to give any country, any club, to follow the rules of the country they are playing at. So it means Saudi can come with their 7 or 8 foreigners, plus 1, and it will be I would say not fair at all, because you cannot compete with this amount of money and you cannot compete with this level. And we already seen the difference. When we got in the Club World Cup, when it's competitive, when it's important, we've seen Al Hilal with the full squad against Al Jazeera with the full squad, 6-1. And Musa Marega, this guy played, Champions League football at the highest level in Europe for many, many years. And Mateus Pereira was the player that all of the Premier League wanted to sign before he decided to come down to Riyadh for a $10 million per season contract. Something that unfortunately not many clubs in Asia can pay. So what I think personally, I think we should keep the ceiling low and make the change more gradual, maybe. Maybe moving to 4 plus 1 and then to 5 plus 1, because let the other clubs who doesn't have this very fast liquidity and resources to sign immediately 2 more quality foreigners in order to compete, and then getting into financial holes that they don't know how to come out of them, to make it gradually in order to make it sustainable. And it's very important that Asian football will keep being sustainable as far as it can be. So yeah, I'm not happy. But, in our world, we talk about rating, and we talk about being viral, and we are talking about being get the most likes and the most shares and everything.
It's all about the results.
Yeah, and Asian football want to be discussed also outside of Asia, and then maybe this is the way to go. Time will tell.
Well, Sandeep, this is something that we've seen in Indian football, right? Especially with the ISL, when it began, there were like around 6 to 7 foreigners. Gradually, it came down to adhere to the AFC norms. 4 plus 1 is what has been the case over the past few seasons. Now with AFC just going back and saying, okay, we can have a 5 plus 1. How much will that impact teams in India? Yes, they will be looking out to having a 5 plus 1, and eventually that impacting the growth of players in the country.
So if you look at ISL, like you saw earlier, because they had 5 foreigners, 6 foreigners, 7 foreigners over the years, only now they've come down to what AFC's current or old standard was. So suddenly you saw a lot more Indians playing. Now, I'm not going to say they all did a great job. I'm not going to say that they all sort of, stepped up and covered up the spot for the foreigner and the quality didn't drop and stuff like that, because we saw some really crazy goals and some high scoring games and things like that, especially when you go with a single foreigner at the back. Sometimes that makes a big difference. So I think it helped India in that we have a lot more players playing regular games. So we have 11 teams, so 77 Indians are playing on an average every single game. So that's actually been an improvement. And hopefully we will see an improvement or a reflection of that in the national team in the future. Right now we have a few players, Liston, who has come in, although he was Liston Colasso, we all knew he was a good player. Suddenly he's come in and if there was another chance to have, let's say they could have played David Williams there all the time, maybe Liston wouldn't have got as many chances, or Manveer would not have, or the other wing. One of them would have sat back. But both of them got a chance. You saw Liston, the confidence that he has and the ability that he has consistently, game in, game out, game on. So that's been great. But at the moment, I don't think India has any plans to change to the Asian 5 foreigner rule, 5 plus 1 rule. At the moment, they said we will continue to go with the current situation. So that then puts the onus on the team who's going to play these tournaments to ensure that the foreigners that they have, even the backups that they have, who they can't play week in, week out in the league, are good enough.
Yeah, but Sandeep, it's like, think about it, it's like a little bit, it's like the chicken and the egg.
Yeah.
Until now, Indian football couldn't offer players the chance to play AFC Champions League. Now they can.
Now
It's
they
only
will,
the
yeah.
second season. I believe it will also open up the door for more quality foreign players in India. You know, I
Yeah.
can tell you, for example, if you know the name Biram Kayal, okay? Biram Kayal, who played in Brighton for many years, Celtic, was an Israeli national team player. You know, he before he came back to Israel to Bnei Sachnin and to have a big project around him and being the main man in the show, both off the field, on the field, everything is around him. He had a really good offer from one club in India, and he considered it because okay, he said, yeah, they just started to play Champions League football. I haven't played Champions League in Europe since a long time ago. He played with Celtic, obviously, against Barcelona and big time. Said maybe it's a good chance in the last year of my career to play a top level in a different continent, you know. So and this was really before last season, only before Goa had their stint at the AFC Champions League. So, you know, India must keep this,
Yeah.
you know, Indian clubs must keep competing in this level, and it will open up for better
Correct.
quality of foreign players. Yeah.
Yeah, because we saw this year, we had a player, Greg Stewart. They eventually won the league shield. Jamshedpur won the league shield. So they will be, they mean they won't directly go to the Champions League because we have to finish another season, and the two winners of the league shield will play each other to decide because the
The
calendar
World
is
Cup,
changing, right?
how, how the World
Yeah,
Cup just ruined the cycle.
The Asian calendar is changing, right? So we'll have another and they'll play each other. But we saw a player like Greg Stewart who played in Rangers last year under Steven Gerrard's Rangers. He was not a first teamer. I think he played under 10 matches or something, but he was still in and around that quality to be in Rangers. He came here and he was literally walking the league. He was walking through the league. He was not running. He was not sprinting. He was sort of coasting. And he so I think you saw the goal. Must have seen that crazy free kick that he hit with
Yeah,
that
yeah,
wicket
yeah.
curve. So I hopefully, like you said, because now you have a Champions League, and for you to you can have six foreigners, that they will probably get better quality foreigners, and that could in turn help Indian football as well.
Yeah, you know, it's also about conditions and facilities, and also club making the adaptations, you know, in order to welcome such players. And you know, not every player has this bug. Yeah, man, I'm going to India now. You know, not everyone can do it because the Indian clubs are still not in this level. That yeah, it's a no-brainer. I'm going for the salary. I'm going for the level for the prestige. No, you are still bidding both. So I think it will, if they keep the level, it will benefit in the long term. But yalla, el kuel jawiya, no?
Yeah.
Yeah. But before that, since we are
Yes.
talking about foreigners, we are talking about change in rules.
Okay.
We have to take a question from our viewers. There's one question that comes in. Just putting it out there. Anyone can answer that. I think for failing at the World Cup level for so many years has forced AFC to come out with this decision, or is it mostly lobbying from the big clubs? What do you think, guys?
Sandeep, you want to take it?
I am not educated enough to talk about this in front of you, so I'm going to defer to you.
I will tell you this. In this kind of decisions, we need to understand what taking place back in the backstage. Yes, of course, there will be lobbying for the big clubs. This is how football federations work. This is how it goes. It's not even football federation. This is how our world works. This is politics, and you know what? It's politics that take place in dictatorships and democratic regimes as well. People are pushing their interests. This is how it goes. So yes, but also I believe that the justification came from basically seeing the Club World Cup and seeing a team like Al Hilal doing so well with how many foreigners that they've been able to sign. Yes, they lost 4-0 to Al Ahly from Africa, but I'm not taking this game as an indicator, because the game I take as an indicator for Al Hilal for let's say the previous Club World Cup was the game against Chelsea. They literally controlled the match against the champions of Europe. That was the case. I commented the game. we saw the data, the Y Scout and everything is open for you, and you cannot believe what you are seeing. And you're saying, no way. You are looking at the data. It is what it is. Muhammad Kanu was finishing Kante in the middle of the field.
Correct.
So I'm saying it's a mix of both. It's a mix of lobbying of the big clubs and also seeing that if you can sign the best players and be competitive also worldwide, you wanted to
Why not?
spread more among the competition.
Absolutely. One more team we have to talk about in Group E, but before that, this is to answer Sandeep's point that he made earlier. The
Yes, it is
UAE India
Ahmed.
match. It was with Arshim who was translating it for us. Thanks a lot for that.
Man,
It was much
Ahmad is
appreciated.
the
It was
real
a good thing.
hero. Ahmad is the real hero of connecting Middle Eastern football and Qatari football and Indian football all together. This guy is amazing,
Absolutely.
amazing.
It's his love for football that connects both the countries. Since he's from here and now he's in Qatar, it just puts everything together.
No.
That's
On
Ahmed.
top of my list for 2022 is
Absolutely.
drinking
Top of
coffee.
everyone's list.
Yeah. Drinking coffee with Ahmed in a shiny, sunny November morning in Doha.
Yeah.
For sure.
Well, carrying on, guys. One last team
Yeah.
in Group B, but by no means poorer from the other three teams in the league. Air Force Club, Sandeep, our memory of Air Force Club is that final in Doha, the AFC Cup final, where Bengaluru FC lost out to Air Force Club 1-0. One name that stuck with me from that match
Amari
was
Ahmed.
Ahmadi Ahmed, who's
Yeah.
still in the squad,
He's still
doing
there.
what he
He's
does.
still
Yeah, he's
there.
still there.
He's still there.
Still there, doing what he does best, scoring goals for fun. Uri, Ahmadi Ahmed, yes, but apart from him, what can we expect from Air Force Club?
Yeah, so first of all, Air Force Club El Kuwa El Jawiya is one of the most, I would say, classic and royal clubs in Iraqi football heritage. Okay, this club is really started its way in the 30s, back in the 30s. A club that is a cornerstone of Iraqi football, basically. Always, fighting for the title. Always has quality players, interesting, journeys in the continent. And in BabaGol, we gave them the nickname Iraqi Sevilla because they were just like Sevilla has the Europa League and back then the
Right.
UEFA Cup.
These
El
guys have the
Kuwait
AFC Cup.
controlled the AFC Cup. Yeah.
True.
Controlled the AFC Cup 3 seasons in a row, no matter which team came against them. It was, I don't remember such dominance and of a club in one competition, not even Sevilla in the Europa League, yeah, because they had already, they didn't want it in a row this way,
Right.
It's like something that, wow, it was mind-blowing. Yeah, and I actually got to see them in the beginning of one of, I think, a year before they started winning. It was no, it was on the year of the first winning of the AFC Cup. They came to Palestine to play against Daria in the group stage, and one guy, a colleague of mine, called me, Uri, you must come down now to the old city. I told him why. He said all the team of El Kuwait Jawiya is now coming out of the Al-Aqsa Mosque, going through the market. And I went there. I met them, Humam Tariq and Hamadim Ahmad and everyone. It was a fantastic experience. So since then, I have a soft spot for this club because they mix, and basically they really, and they did something in Asian football. Yeah, they are not. It's only the second run in AFC Champions League. After winning the AFC Cup, they got the chance the first time. The first campaign was highly disappointed. It was the first time Iraqi teams could compete at this level. They came with high expectations because the Iraqi fans can build expectations about nothing. Yeah, they are like this. They are so passionate about football, and for me, among the best fans in the world. But the first campaign was disappointed. Now they returned after winning the title last season, and a very interesting squad, I must say. They haven't lost since January, basically. And from all the team in the group, It's basically the best form. El Jawiya are the best form, I would say, coming into this competition. Yeah, they are not. They don't gonna win the title in the Iraqi league. El Shurta is running riot, almost 20 points above them, or something. El Jawiya left for the training camp in Dubai with 48 points. I think El Shurta now is already with 67. So it's pretty much a done deal in the Iraqi league. But still, the squad that they are coming with to this competition, it basically will be, a proper knockout competition in a way, not until the final, but, the group stage in one place, in 1 month, all together, all the players. It's also a very connecting experience, and a very squad building experience. So they're coming with very interesting foreigners: Wilson Akpapo from Togo, Rodrigo Mille, Mehdi Bukaso, Algerian, Swiss Congolese, Rael Ulala, all players that contributed for their efforts to retain form in the past months. They did few very good moves in January to sign those players. Few of them above the regular budget Iraqi team signs players. So I believe they do look on this campaign of AFC Champions League 2022 as an important goal for this club. They want to go through the group stage, of course. And if that's not enough, they brought 3 very notable Iraqi players. I'm talking about Durgam Ismail. I'm talking about Saf Ahadi that they brought from the Russian league. And I'm talking about Ala Abbas they brought from Gil Vicente in Portugal. All prominent members of the Iraqi national team in the past years. All very good players who played in Iraq. Few of them in El Jawiya already in past in previous chances. And this is a massive addition to the squad. So we are talking about squad that has also quality foreigners for their level. Okay, I'm not thinking that the Rael Ulala is a top player for Asia. He can produce, he can contribute on attack, he can execute and score goals for sure, but he's not a game changer. But he making them more competitive. But the in-depth and the depth that the Iraqi players are giving them is going to be crucial for them in order to succeed in this competition. And yes, the guy from your nightmares, Hamadi Ahmed, is waiting for their balls, waiting for the chances to score. And I tell you that I think under coach Hakim Shaker, who worked in all of the big clubs in Iraq, he worked in all the national teams of Iraq throughout the years. He even got to coach in the Omani League. He had a short stint also in Armenia for a short season. I think this guy also brings Jawiya some stability, that is very clear that the experience and the final cut and the last word is his. After a few seasons, even during last season, there was a lot of arguments and discussion within the club about professional decision. This is not the case anymore. So they are coming confident. They did a good preparation in Dubai, and they landed on Friday morning in Riyadh. I see them coming very prepared and ready for this challenge for sure. So this is on the one side, but on the other side, if we look on the chance of Mumbai creating a surprise here or creating a shocker here and giving India its first victory, this should be the game. Right. Okay, if we spoke about the speed, we spoke about the wings, this is the game, because this is where things can get all the if El Jawiya connecting and everything is working, they can win 4-0. Okay, good. But if Mumbai will start strong, press high, get a quick goal, it's a different story. They will collapse. It will be tension, there will be fights and everything. This is the game.
Got it. Well, Sandeep, listening to Uri, it seems like this time's group that an Indian team finds itself in is way more open than what it was a year ago when you knew Persepolis would go on to win the group and qualify, and it was all about the other two West Asian teams fighting for the second spot. But this time around, you don't know who will end up with the top spot, right, guys?
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, absolutely. I just like the way Uri tells right from the beginning, from 1930s, this royalty, and you see the history that they have in themselves, history that they have in Asian competition, etc. So that gives us a holistic understanding of what we are actually competing against. It's this team and their heritage that they come with. So I'm really excited. I was not this excited coming into the podcast, but after listening to you, I'm like this. I have to watch every single match without fail because this is going to be really really interesting. And let's hope, like you said, Mumbai can get Angulo. Angulo can finish like he. I think his touch map is sometimes like 7 touches, and he will score a couple of goals because he doesn't need too many touches to score goals. So let's hope that he get that half a chance and he can convert, and then let's see what we can do after that. So hopefully, like you
Actually,
said,
before the show, I tried to watch not full games, but I watched few highlights of Mumbai from last season in order to understand a little bit. And I really think that if Angulo can connect well, if the first game won't be a complete disaster or a loss that will put a bad atmosphere on the camp. Look, it's a tournament. It's like if you play good tournament football, you can go through. I think
yeah.
I think that what is the discussion among the fans of Mumbai, or it's like it became basically how Indian fans are supporting this team. Are all fans are supporting Mumbai in this effort, or it's like rival fans will say, "Now we let them lose 4-0 every match."
No, I'm sure if they lose 4-0, someone will say something. But until then, because we saw this when BFC were trying to get into the AFC Cup final, they got letters from their fiercest rivals wishing them all the best. They put, open letters on social media. Fan groups came up. In fact, one of the nice stories is the Johor match, which was 1-1 in the first leg. Second leg was at home in Bangalore, and BFC requested the clubs to come and support us because this is going to be, you guys are going to be very important in this match. And there were messages from other teams and fans from other teams who came in, and they said, we will not wear your jersey. So they came in wearing their own colors, like Mohan Bagan jersey or Shillong Lajong jersey, but they came in just to show support because this is Indian football trying to do something at a nation level. So I don't. There is a lot of Indians living in the Middle East, so hopefully we can see some of them as well in the stadium, and that can spur the team on. As far as the rest of us are concerned, we just want Indian football to do something at the Asian stage and slowly make a mark, and hopefully we can take off from there.
But guys,
Inshallah.
what would have actually added more charm to this is if we had these matches in the traditional home and away format. Imagine teams going to Baghdad playing a match there, teams coming to Bombay here and playing a few matches here. Then of course going to Riyadh and then in Abu Dhabi. Things would have been completely different. But we hope for a better future. We hope for a better tomorrow when things will be normal and we'll be back to that. Uri, I know you've been pretty vocal about how Iraq did not get to play a game in Baghdad because that is something that people in Baghdad were eagerly waiting for, right?
Yeah. For me, as someone who covered Asian football for in the 10 years almost, and Iraq was one of the national teams that made me fall in love with the scene. Iraq 2007 Asian Cup is for me one of the biggest stories in sports, not only in Asian football and not only in football. And I think that this country is suffering for 30 years now. The fact that they cannot host international football games in their country. And as someone who grew up in Jerusalem, we had the same thing for 2.5 years in the beginning of the 2000 when buses were bombing in the middle of the streets and everything. And when you are not part of the game and the game cannot come to your home, it impacts you. It changes your perceptions about yourself, about the place you are living in. And it also happened only now with the World Cup qualifiers with Russia that was immediately expelled. And okay, I'm not getting into the politics of what's going on there, but I'm sure kids in Russia who has nothing to do with this war suddenly it impacts them. It changes their perception. And for Iraq, a country that suffered so much throughout the years from external intervention, from really bad things, terror, really havoc, and manage still to be competitive in competition, to produce proud moments for the people. They waited so long to host in their capital city, and after getting the final permission that it takes place in an important match, that if Iraq would have they won it eventually without it, yeah. But imagine how what push it would give them to play in front of tens of thousands of local Iraqi fans. Also for the other game against Syria that they somehow bottled it. I don't know how crazy Iraq is, but yeah, unfortunate situation. But again, we live in a world that now it's this and tomorrow it will be completely different. So thanks for football and thanks for our privilege to speak online now and answer questions. This is what I think.
Just thanking our stars that we are privileged enough to watch these matches wherever we are. Well, and on the World Cup qualifiers front is UAE versus Australia, which will happen in June, and then the winner taking on Peru. We wait for that. But before we wrap up, there's a question coming in. Sandeep, if you want to take this one, this is more about what if things could have been better other way around if Indian clubs were placed in the ASEAN or the East Asian group. Do you think it could have helped us get better results and eventually bring more viewers?
I mean, this is a very difficult. East is also really tough. We talk
Absolutely.
about West Asian teams. East is they have World Cup teams who
You
play
have
in the
teams
World
like
Cup consistently.
Hyundai, who's been like 2-time champions and things like that.
I'm saying national. I'm looking at it from a footballing culture perspective also. East has really strong culture as well. So ASEAN group, maybe you would say after SAF, which where we are, this would be the next step. But we can't really. I mean, Vietnam is doing phenomenal things. How are we ever going to say that
Thailand
we
is
might
there,
do better?
Vietnam is there. There are quite
Yeah,
a number of teams out
I
there.
think India beat Thailand twice. One was probably the best day in the year for them. That day when all the stars lined up, that was the day they scored 4 goals in the Asian Cup, and the other one was a 1-0 win in Kings Cup. But at that time also, Thailand had some internal problems with coaches and arguments, and I think they sacked the coach soon after. So I'm sort of I don't know, in the Champions League you can't really choose this, right? This ASEAN and opportunities like that. So I don't really know the exact answer. I would hope that we move from SAF to the ASEAN group if possible to play those Suzuki Cup and tournaments like that, because I think that would be a good challenge, and then we can finally see where we stand, because ASEAN is still some way below the top level in Asia.
Right.
So I think that would be a next step. But I think India was trying to move somewhere to the west, right?
Yeah,
Uh,
coming up with a new federation with the
the
Central Asians
new
and the rest.
yeah. So I
Yeah,
think that's
it's
going to be
very
tough.
interesting. I want to add to correct things. I think you said, Sandeep. It's don't underestimate the East. Although it's
Hmm.
less physical, doesn't mean it's not good or it's less good than the West. But I think that in matters of style and football intellect, I think Indian football has a lot more to offer in the East as a
Right.
competitor, because Indian footballers are much more physical than Southeast Asia players. Physical, their advantages are literally their strength and speed. If in Southeast Asia, the game is more flowing and it's more, the passes are more keeping are the thing that create the pace of the game, and in the West, it's more the technique and your physicality. I think India being exactly in the middle and competing in the West for a nice amount of years now, AFC Cup and now AFC Champions League level. If they go now to play Saudi Asia, they rock it. They can teach a lesson a few of the teams competing there. But we need to see, yes. But this is my
But that's
personal
something I
thing,
think we'll have to wait
assumption.
and watch if that can happen.
What?
I think that is something we'll have to wait and watch if that can happen.
Yeah, but I think India shouldn't be scared, to try out and exactly try to get
Absolutely.
experience also,
Like looking
also
for
from.
competition, like better your competition, and that's how you grow.
Yeah, for sure.
Well, I guess, guys, that brings us to the end of this episode. It's been a pleasure, like always. Uri, having you on the show is always fun. It's been the case, and it was no different this time around. Thanks a lot for joining in and sharing
It was
all the
fun.
information that you have on Asian football as a whole.
We can continue for hours. We touched only we made the
Right.
tapas meal of this group. We can speak on each club for hours for sure.
So can
And
I
Well,
ask
it's
two
a big
things,
big
Uri, before
pleasure.
we leave?
Yeah, for sure.
So who would you say is the favorite to win the Champions League?
Oh, look,
Uri might take quite a long time for that.
I will tell you. For me, Al Hilal is always a favorite in Asian Champions League, in Asian football. But also John Book and Ulsan and the Japanese. This time I think Vissel, after gaining some experience, Vissel Kobe can run high in the east. In the east, I think I see them. And the trickiness of this competition, that basically until the final, it's two complete separate competitions.
True.
A team can literally be, sorry for the expression, shit, but somehow climb until the final of the competition, play against a team that was shining in the West, Persepolis in 2020. Then they play against Ulsan. Poof, this is it. They are the champions of Asia. So it's unfair. But for me, if we look on squads, so yeah, Al Hilal for me is still the favorite to win this competition again, a second year in a row.
Well,
But
Uri, that
how
commendable
much
because
achievements?
it's just we just lost a follower there, I suppose.
No, I tell you what. Okay, you know what. One for Ahmed, because and I will send the viewers here to read a fantastic interview. Well, it's kind of an interview that I did with Ahmed, writing on for New Frame on Andre Ayew. Andre Ayew, the Ghanaian captain, who also played for Al Sadd. And Al Sadd, it will be a joyful moment to see them winning the Asian Champions League once again. It's been a while since they've done it. Yeah, going back to the beginning of last decade, and they were very close with Xavi still as a player and Baghdad Bunjah in top form and being the top scorer of the world in 2018. They lost to Persepolis in the semi-final, if I'm not wrong. And Andre Ayew, in this article that I wrote for New Frame, maybe Naveen, I will send you the link after, and you can put wherever so the viewers can read it. I spoke about the chance Andre Ayew has if he will qualify for the World Cup in Qatar with Ghana and will go all the way in the Asian Champions League with Al Sadd, will put him on the verge of being probably one of the greatest or best African players to play in Asia. Because he will concentrate all his heritage in Qatar on the same year, both for the national team and club level. So half of the deal he already done. Andre Ayew will captain Ghana Black Stars in Qatar in a very interesting group indeed. So now let's see. For Ahmad, yeah, okay. Ahmad, I correct my choice. Al Hilal is the favorites, but Al Sadd has a good chance also, only because your football is so good.
So
There
this is
you
the
go. I'm
second
on
the
the
second one I
bandwagon.
wanted to ask you, and this has got nothing to do with Asian football per se. It's just
I
that this year I've noticed in India, probably because Salah and Mane faced each other twice, once in the
Yeah.
AFCON final and again for the World Cup qualifier, that there is an interest in African football that is rising. And you did fantastic work. I told you last time we spoke on the phone, covering and informing us about what's happening in AFCON, because a lot of the games are not shown here. We're watching on
Yeah.
YouTube. So, can you describe AFCON? What happened in AFCON? Because it was It was a tournament which had great things, horrible things that happened, fantastic football, some really weird refereeing stuff as well. So it was just one of those amazing tournaments to be part of.
Yeah, Afcon is always a little bit chaotic. Is For someone who's been to Afcon 2019 myself in Cairo, it's a chaotic tournament. It's, all the time something doesn't work. All the time there's a problem, and yeah, sometimes it's the referee or the linesman or the VAR or the fans. And I think in Cameroon we saw it unfortunately creating a sad situation with 20 people who lost their lives attending a match of Cameroon. Basically, I was supposed to go to cover the last quarterfinal, the semifinals, and the final, but unfortunately, Omicron caught me, and I didn't know it. I was testing a day before the flight, and everything was cancelled like this, and then the symptoms started, and it was a very unpleasant weekend of me watching the semifinals of AFCON at home. But you know, in my mind, it all connected to this chaotic tournament with the worst average goals per game, 1 goal point 88 per match, the worst AFCON average ever, basically, or since 1989 or something like that. Okay, so this tournament suffered from the lack of preparation because European clubs didn't release the players on time. COVID prevented the national teams to get into the camp and create and play friendlies as a preparation for the tournament on time. So basically, the whole of the group stage was a preparation for the tournament, and the tournament started in the quarterfinal, basically, or the. This is why we saw also a lot of surprises: Equatorial Guinea, Sierra Leone, all kind of stuff. Algeria getting knocked out on the group stage. So yeah, it was a bizarre tournament. Always fun to cover AFCON. The passion of African football fans and African football players, and African football community for the national teams is so big, and it's addictive. You don't want to miss a beat. You don't want to sleep because every second there is a story. Every second there is a video. There is something happen. So first of all, I'm happy that my coverage, put you to follow the tournament and the results and everything. But this is the privilege, of covering African football, because the level of passion for the game, and the game is like food. It's like water. It's like air. It's not. It's something that no other tournament shows. And I covered Asian Cup, for example, where I met Naveen in the mixed zone after I think it was Qatar, Saudi Arabia. Fantastic match, historical match. I also recall, and it's not the same. In Africa, the mess is ruining everything. So yeah, it's harder and it's chaotic, but it drives you crazy. So Afcon got his own character, and yeah, it will never surprise me how I just covered one, and next year I'm gonna cover another one. Yeah, this is the situation.
Well, that's just football, guys. Thanks a
Yeah,
lot, guys, for joining in. Thank you, Uri. It's been a pleasure,
thank you, guys.
and we hope to catch with you pretty soon to bring you on show on.
Yeah, let's put a deal now live with our viewers. If Mumbai City if Mumbai City will get a first victory for the ISL, we have and even of course if they are going to the next round, for they are coming out of the group stage and progressing from the group stage, we'll have another chapter to summarize the group stage. Okay, this is the deal.
Absolutely.
There you go.
Here, you got it
That's all.
live. You got
On
it.
Yeah.
Uri, and let's see what happens with the results. Well, Sandeep, there's some network connection at your end, but I'm pretty sure you're hearing us. Thanks a lot for joining in today. And
Hey, thanks, man, and looking forward to whatever else is out there for us now.
awesome. And all throughout this hour and a half, I suppose that four teams in this league that has 48 teams. the AFC Champions League Group 22 edition. Back with more as and when the team competition progresses. Stay with us on Injury Time to bring you Injury Time IND. We are on Twitter, Instagram, and YouTube now. So give us a follow, subscribe to do on social media to follow us until we bring you the next episode of Injury Time. Bye from us and enjoy the beautiful game.